three brothers are prohibition bootleggers living the American dream.
There's a feeling around these parts that Matt Bondurant is indestructible.
Life is good until authorities threaten to cut into their profits.
Oh, what, you gonna shoot me, huh?
I'm the one who's going to make your life real difficult from now on if you don't toe the line, country boy.
With an unlikely ally, they wage an all-out war against the police in Lawless.
Welcome. I'm Leah.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Sean, and we're here to talk about the movie Lawless, directed by John Hillcoat and starring Shia LaBeouf and Tom Hardy. We've all just seen it, and these are very nice costumes, by the way.
You like
Do we
that?
shop at the same place?
I think that we shop at Bootleggers Are Us.
I feel tough. I feel like I could just, where's my brass knuckles? That's what I need.
Lawless is a big screen adaptation of a novel that is yet to be released, written by Matt Bondurant. He is the grandson and great-nephew of the Bondurant brothers, who were these notorious bootleggers during Prohibition way back up in Fairfax County in Virginia.
I believe that the book is actually called The Wettest County in the World.
I think you're absolutely
And
right.
that was what this movie was originally called before they changed it to Lawless.
Law enforcement decides that they want to muscle in on this business and get a piece of the action. And Guy Pearce plays our uber villain, Charlie Rakes. He is a
baddie bad guy. He is an evil man.
So he sets his sights on Forrest Bondurant, played by Tom Hardy. So it becomes this struggle between these corrupt law enforcement agents and these slightly amoral bootleggers who really want to stand their ground.
There's a lot that this story could have done. I mean, for me, I was watching it, I was just like, okay, you know, and we're not going there. There's a lot of false starts. A lot of false starts where they'd sort of start following one character, then they'd sort of pull back. I kept thinking it was going to be a story about Jack, who is the youngest of the three Bondurants.
That's Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yes.
And he is the weakling brother. There's times when, like, the older brothers are having a rough time and you think, well, he's gonna step up, he's gonna be the guy. And he doesn't.
The biggest problem for me with this film was the plotting. I felt like the writing didn't really do service to the talent and the look of the film. The plot was always kind of struggling to contain all of these different elements, the different storylines, the different characters.
The group that made this is Nick Cave, the screenwriter, and the director John Hillcoat, who made The Proposition a few years ago, which I think is one of the best of the modern-day Westerns.
He also did The Road.
And so I was disappointed as well. I mean, the moral ambiguity aspect that you're talking about, which you know, is here. It's inviting us to sort of relish that and experience it. It's not deep enough. They don't go into it. There's too many characters in this movie. I mean, the cops have, I don't know how many people on their side. And it's not just these three brothers. I mean, they've got this other guy who's a crippled guy who's working
Cricket, played by Dane DeHaan.
Who's doing a lot of things for them, who's making the stills that they're brewing.
He soups up the car.
And I gotta say, he's
in.
one of the only characters who I felt was someone I cared about, because like you said, there are so many characters. He took the place of the Shia LaBeouf character. Yeah. He ended up becoming the heart of the film, whereas I thought the main guy who's got all the screen time should have taken that role.
Oh, you gotta be kidding. What, you got a better idea?
It's hard to sort of feel the suspense of the picture or feel the emotion of the picture when there's so many people that these events are happening to that you just don't know about.
The plot lacks a structural integrity. It doesn't seem to really be clear about where it's planting, you know, its boom and its posts. And so
it's
consequently,
the basics of a beginning, middle, and end.
You have to show us how things are related through cause and effect.
Because what you have is stuff that happens to these characters, and they are not impacted.
And as a result, there's no build, there's no growing, there's no tension.
I mean, and you make a promise to an audience when you see something that looks like it's going to be a violent end to a person, and then all of a sudden they're miraculously okay with no explanation. I've never been so disappointed that someone didn't die. So I will say this, the acting in this film is very solid. Shia LaBeouf does an excellent job of playing a sort of bumbling character. He's the weak link of the group, and it's hard for an actor to play a role that doesn't really arc.
But I thought there was a switch there.
There was a switch.
I thought he kind of did that. He turned from basically a wimp into this sort of vengeful gunman. I mean, I never thought...
he still was off the cuff. He still was,
well,
he wasn't a thinking person. He was still, you know what it was? He was still immature.
It wasn't a character-defining moment. It was a reaction.
Right.
Yeah, it was still
Which is, again, what's problematic with the script.
That's a script problem. I don't think it's a Shia LaBeouf problem.
No,
I mean,
probably not.
I think that he can play both sides of it, and he does it pretty well.
Sure.
But with the script problems, in the sense that there are so many people that this movie's concentrating on...
He doesn't get the chance.
John Hillcoat, the director, did The Proposition, of course, and he's got a good eye, I think, for cinematography, for setting the stage of his scenes. The problem here, at least from a directorial standpoint, is I think he didn't find enough underneath the script. He just kind of shot what was there. He shot it in an interesting way, but he couldn't find anything else to really sink his teeth into as a director.
I agree. I think that he was able to capture moments or events, but the way in which they are assembled all into the same film, it's just flat.
Yeah, there aren't levels.
Lawless belongs to a genre of films of which there are much better examples. Lawless is listless. Skip it.
This movie starts off with a lot of potential, but the plot never develops. For interesting characters and good performances, I still give it a stream it.
Lawless is unemotional, but it's well acted. It's well made. I think it's worth watching at home. Stream it.
Our votes add up to 1 ticket, which is a stream it for Lawless. Cheers.
This alcohol's illegal, by the way, so drink it fast.
Yeah, right? Because what you have is stuff that happens to these characters, and they are not impacted.